Today, we're going to talk about maximizing profits on short-term rentals, from how the experience needs to be to hosting it and listing it. I'm excited with my guest today, so let's get into it. What is going on, and welcome to another episode of The Hot Take, where we talk everything in real estate, from wholesaling, flipping rentals, and everything in between. I'm the host of BatchTV, Jesse Burrell. Let's get into it. Today, I have a very special guest. I'm so excited to have you on, Alexis Quiterio.
Thank you so much.
Before we get started, actually, let's talk to the audience. You know, how long have you been hosting short-term rentals? How long have you been in real estate? Just give me a quick 30 seconds real quick.
I'm Alexis Quiterio, and my company is Rediscover Stays. We help homeowners, realtors with their buyers, and investors turn their properties into profitable short-term rentals. We've been in real estate with this company for about 6 months, but we've been in the hospitality industry for over 10 years.
So basically, we're going to give away all of your secrets to where people could be profitable with short-term rentals. And if they don't want to manage them, then hopefully if they're in Phoenix, they could reach out to you.
That's right.
Before we start, actually, how long have you been in real estate for?
Real estate, about 8 months.
So you're brand new.
I'm brand new, but my parents are architects. And so I helped them build their house when I was 3.5 years old, all the way up to, 14, 15. And so I was always just kind of in it and learn the ins and outs. So I was familiar enough to hop in and have some good experience.
Yeah. So the three things we're really going to, dive into today are the experience, the listing, and then the hosting. Yeah. So let's talk about experience. So if someone has vacation rentals or short-term rentals already, tell me the importance of it. And then also, how can it add more money to your bottom line?
Absolutely. So the experience, especially now more than ever in a market such as Phoenix, Arizona, or any major city or area, is really going to differentiate themselves based on the experience that it provides. So when the guest first walks in, do you have a nice little welcome card or a binder? Right. Do you have a nice bottle of wine and maybe some chocolates or candies or whatever your preference is? It's all about that first impression, the smells in the room. Do you have good incense? It's all about what those individuals are going to remember, which is super important with the 5 senses. You always want to base it off the 5 senses: what you see, what you smell, what you touch. And then as you continue through the whole experience there, whether you offer extra concierge experiences, whether they want to have groceries delivered to their house, or if they want exclusive concierge experiences, which we also offer. We're close with a lot of small businesses in town, and this can be for anywhere that people go. And if you know a lot of the locals, if you know a lot of the small businesses, that's someone that you could say, hey, I'm going to send a guest your way. We want them to feel like they're getting that exclusive experience based on, our short-term rental properties, company, whatever it is, and provide that so they feel like locals.
I can agree more, because when you walk in somewhere, I'm in real estate, so I flip homes, I own homes, all those things. Mm-hmm. You if it smells bad or if it looks horrible, that's just going to turn a client off or a renter off or whatever off right away. Yeah. But with short-term rentals, let's kind of go into let's just go into Airbnbs per se. Mm-hmm. What have you found helpful for people that are watching this with staging? So what type of furniture should you get? Should you get, so I like places when I specifically look, I want to have like some type of game room, because when I do go on vacation, I do like to go do things, but I do like to spend time at the house or place I'm staying at too. So that's super important to me. Yeah. So what would you recommend for people?
It's all about the details, right? So it depends on your listing, and it really depends as to what level it is. Right. And when I say level, is it $100 a night? Is it a $500 a night? Is it $1,000 a night plus? Right. And with all of those different levels, it's going to come with different details that you really want to focus on. Any sort of basic rental should, of course, have all basic amenities. Have a couch, have those side tables in the bedroom, have at least 4 pillows per bed. Have all those little nuances that makes them feel like they're home for the most part.
Right.
When you start to get into a little bit more of those luxurious listings, or even something, above $200, maybe you have a pool table, maybe you have some cornhole in the backyard. Right. For Phoenix specifically, and in this area, since it gets really hot, you do want a pool year round. And you also If it's not heated, that's okay. But if you have a hot tub or a pool, or again, you have different amenities around the house, you have fluffy pillows, nice blankets, like all those little extra touches as to when someone's on vacation, what extra thing do they want that maybe might not be at their house for them to have that ultimate vacation experience.
If you want to learn how to turn your long-term rentals into short-terms, somewhere up here, check it out now. So what I think when someone's going on a vacation, and it could depend what level. So, the $100, the $500, the $1,000, someone wants to go somewhere a little bit nicer than probably where they live.
In a bunch of the properties that we've set up, of course, there should be all of those basics in the house. There's over 173-point checklist that we go through to make sure that there are all of those items. And you don't think about it. You have a completely empty house and it's like, okay, go into the living room. What do you need in the living room? Couch, chairs, throw pillows, blankets, rugs, coffee table, probably an entertainment center, TV. There's so many things per room. And once you start naming all of those off, it really starts to add up. Even the little accessories, a little blanket basket, the nice cute coffee cups, but they also need their saucer, the Nespresso machine, so you go through all of that. And again, it depends on the listing, but you have to be mindful of that and then set up your experience, set up your property to tailor to that demographic of people.
So there's a lot of research that goes into this, beforehand on the price point you buy the house for and so on and so forth. Yeah. But like transitioning, you just talked about listing. I didn't realize the listing part was so important. Tell me some tips, like literally personally, tell me like, what do I need to know to really get top dollar for your listing?
Okay. So like we said before, it's a common theme. First impressions are everything. So how is your title structured? Look at the top Airbnbs or VRBOs. They have some capitals in it. They might have little asterisks. They're going to describe either, depending on their listing, something that it's a theme of the house, what you can be expecting. Pool, cozy, private backyard. It depends as to where you are. Maybe if it's in season, for example, here for Phoenix Suns, near downtown, you really want to grab people. And we often change our titles of the listings depending on the season.
It's really interesting knowing that they change. And it was funny because I was looking, now that you're mentioning this, it shows me some of the lazy listings in Tahoe is they should have summer pictures up right now, not winter pictures. So they're showing all these winter pictures. Yep. And I'm like, that doesn't look good to me. I'm going there in the summer. Like, what's my view of the lake look like?
Always change your cover photo depending on the season. And also, and again, you don't need to take new pictures. Just if there's a couple seasons to it, wherever you are, seasonality pictures, cool. Get those. Stick them in there for the long term, but you can rearrange them.
Right.
And you can also, again, change the title all the time. You want to attract the right person. And regarding the beds and stuff, usually there's an option to, not everyone does it, but you can go in there and you could say bedroom 1, queen bed, bedroom 2, king bed, bedroom 3, 2 double beds, but not everyone does that. And so it's really important. Our number one thing is to never be deceptive. So at least if people, whatever they see in the pictures is what they're going to get. And that's one of the top reviews as we go through all our different platforms, seeing how guests review certain hosts and looks exactly like the picture or looks better than the pictures. Of course, you want looks exactly like if they're really that top notch. But if they look better, that's awesome. But you never want it to be a case where it looks super clean and you go in and it's gross and, dirty and it's very deceptive. And so we always just try to put more information out there rather than less. And there's a lot of different options to do that, whether it's the guest book, whether it's in the description, Airbnb, VRBO, any short-term rental platform leaves that space for you.
So we've talked about experience. We've talked about the listing. Now, probably the most important part, the hosting. So let's get into that.
Similar, again, we always revert back to our professional hospitality side. Once they check in, especially if you can monitor it on your Bluetooth app with the electric lock and whatnot, you could just check in, see how they're doing, see if everything is up to their standards and satisfaction. A day or two later, always check in. How are you doing? Can I get you anything? And then throughout the experience, you don't want to bother them much, but you want them to know that you are there and accessible. Always, always, always. And that's something that comes even before they get there, even before you text them that or communicate that with them over the app, over the phone, whatever. You always let them know, especially in the listing, we're nearby if you ever need anything, or here's a couple numbers. It's in the welcome message, it's in the binder. And you just always let them know, and it gives them a peace of mind.
Well, I think I came from the service industry myself too. So obviously, I think you just have stuff ingrained in you as well. Because for me, I served tables when I was younger. That's like, you want to make sure you refill their soda, refill their water before they ask. If you're ahead of it, their experiences, because you're thinking to yourself, you're like, wow, I didn't have to ask for this. Wow, I didn't have to ask for this. Like
Always.
they're on top of it to where I think that's so important is, you know, with short-term rentals, people are lazy too. But if you really want to get top dollar and be a super host and have all these crazy reviews, you have to care.
Oh, yeah. It's about care. That is the key word, is caring. And that is why we love what we do, is because we care. We care about people's experience. We care about the memories that the experience and the property is going to leave the guest with. Because at the end of the day, the reason why we got into this specifically, Rediscover Stays, is because we want to help enhance how people perceive life and travel after they conclude their experience. Because if someone's happy with an experience, they meet some awesome people, they get that time and attention, maybe from the host or maybe from their environment, the concierge services that they maybe didn't anticipate, then they're going to go home most likely a little bit happier, a little bit more open-minded, a little bit more grateful. There's going to be some sort of positive ripple effect. And if that's something as small, I think all of us hosts have that responsibility. Yeah. If that's the smallest thing that we can do, we're in, you know, that's what we're in it for. We're here to serve.
So to tie this all together, we're talking about the experience, the listing, the hosting. How does this experience and all the things we're giving them, how does this help your bottom line? Because at the end of the day, we do care, but still, how do we create more passive income, you know, having these rentals? So how does that all tie together?
It will allow you to gain that credibility. For example, we've been talking about Airbnb a lot. It'll allow you to gain that credibility of a superhost.
Right.
It'll allow you to gain that credibility of 5-star reviews. And so it takes a little bit of patience, and you have to build up to that, of course.
Right.
But even recognizing the opportunity, which is, you know, if anyone recognizes the evolving landscape of how people want to travel,
right?
People want accessibility to things. And even property owners, one of our most recent clients, we were setting up, it's a family of 4, and they want to travel more. They've lived in their house for over 20 years. So what do? We go in and we assess the whole thing, and we set the whole thing up to be Airbnb ready so they can have more time to travel while making money.
Right.
So to your question, I mean, the profitability is there. The opportunity is there. It just depends how you set it up, how you want to attack it, if you even want to allow someone else to experience the pleasure of your home. And then from there, just having the strategy of keeping up with that 5-star experience.
So becoming a super host and having all these great reviews, that in turn lets you drive your price up a little bit too. Yeah. I've read some articles on being able to charge more because if your new listing, your listing sucks, your pictures aren't good, you're not going to maximize your profits on your rental properties.
Yeah, people are uncertain. They don't want to stay in a place where they don't feel like the place is worth the money or it's not valuable enough.
Right.
And so that value is driven by the pictures, it's driven by the reviews, and it's driven by the experience that people are talking about.
Absolutely. So before we go, I want one golden nugget. It could be anything related to entrepreneurship that you want to give to the audience. And then on top of that, how does someone get a hold of you?
Remember why you started. Did you want the lifestyle initially? Did you want the financial freedom? Did you want the time freedom? Did you want the opportunity to do more and grow certain skills? Just remember why, because at the end of the day, usually my number one golden nugget is balance, but that all boils down to remember why you started. Because if you want to maintain that balance, if you want to have that again, financial and time freedom in your life and that freedom to travel, it really does help you persevere and get through all of those difficult situations, because there are going to be roadblocks. There are going to be obstacles. There's going to be all of that. So through everything, if you stay consistent and you stick through it and you just remember why you started, I feel as if we are all able to deliver a lot more genuine and top-notch of a service.
Absolutely. How do we get a hold of you via social media?
Social media, you can get me at Rediscover Stays. It is a newer Instagram page, so I do have to have that disclaimer. But rediscoverstays.com, you could also contact me there, and I have all of my contact information.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for coming on. I think there was so much value to where people could improve their short-term rental properties to make more income. So thank you so much for coming in today.
Thanks for having me, Jesse.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for watching another episode of The Hot Take. Make sure to smash that like button. subscribe, and I hope you got value today on how to make more money with short-term rentals. Until next time, let's get it. Check out these other videos right here. Follow me on social media.